Welcome to our channel. My name's Emily and I'm a pretty senior flight attendant. I've been with my company 9.5 years. And today this video is about how to become a flight attendant, especially the interview process. I'm going to give you my best tips for the interview and a couple of things you might not have heard that I think will really help you. I want to give a huge shout out to April, who is having her flight attendant interview today, and she's let me be a part of her journey. We met in the comments on some of my other flight attendant videos, and I've met several of you via Instagram and Facebook. You can always find me there, and I just want to say thank you for involving me in your journey. It's such a huge side benefit that I didn't even think about when I started recording these, and I just love it. So one tip is comment below with where you are in your journey of becoming a flight attendant, the interview process, which company you're really hoping for, other companies you're considering, where you live, etc., things like that. And you may find that other people in the comments are either in the same place as you or I've had other flight attendants on here that were flight attendants with that company and they were able to give advice. Let's get started. The one other thing I want to mention is this is our family channel. I film the flight attendant videos on French Chef's Family Vlogs, and we would love you to subscribe. But what we do here is this would be I'm a flight attendant now mother. We've had, in addition to being a flight attendant, I'm also a mom to 3 great kids that we've had, 3 kids under 4, so pretty quick. And I've done all that as a flight attendant. You might be interested in subscribing anyways, is because our goal is to travel as much as we can as a family, and I show how we do the behind the scenes standby travel. We use our benefits. We go back and forth to France. We're going to France in a few months. With all the kids, standby travel. So if you want to see any of that, how that works, but we do our day-to-day life, especially education as an adventurous flight attendant, you may find that you're in the same spot as me in the future of how's this going to work, this career and this lifestyle with school and kids and husband and jobs and responsibilities. So that's what we do here. Please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you. I do flight attendant videos probably on an average of once a week. So with that said, let's get started. To become a flight attendant, the first thing, of course, is the interview process. And many of you are probably just starting here with YouTube videos and trying to learn a little bit more about how this works. I remember that process, and I think there are some resources out there online that people want to sell to you that I don't think you need. Don't buy any program for how to become a flight attendant. It's like any other job, you just really have to apply. And I guess the only point I want to make there is there's no formula, there's no tricks, there's no ins and outs, there's no anything that anybody could sell you for that you couldn't find online or with videos like this with myself and other flight attendants. A couple websites that I would recommend is glassdoor.com. You can learn a lot about the different airlines that exist, and when going into an interview, you do want to know a little bit about them, but it also gives you an idea. I didn't even know that my company existed before I became a flight attendant. I work for a regional company, so we work for a lot of the mainline partners, but I thought I wanted to work mainline, and I actually ended up going with a regional, and that's been a perfect fit for me. And so I think I thought the same thing of, oh well, mainline is the best. You may find that regional is actually a better fit, like it was for me, and I didn't start out knowing that information. So if you have any questions about that, I'm hoping to do another video about the benefits I see, and in my other videos I do talk about that. I talk about things to consider versus regional and mainline, and especially I'll link it below and here. Things to consider when becoming a flight attendant. At the end of this video, I'll link my flight attendant vlogs playlist so that you can pick and choose which vlogs might be helpful for you on your journey. There's also a website called flightattendantcareer.com, and they list a lot of the flight attendant questions and answers for the specific airlines, because I can't say, especially since I got hired so long ago, exactly what the questions are they ask. But what I'm going to talk about today, I do feel like they're pretty central to just being a flight attendant. I mean, being a flight attendant does have some kind of prerequisites in that you have to be responsible, dependable, assertive, adventurous, You have to be self-reliant. You have to have a lot of common sense. I would say that's probably the number one skill that I see on the job that is really what I feel benefits the company the most, because as a flight attendant, you're very independent. I mean, we're working by ourselves for the most part out there. For the day-to-day, you're really like solo. And sometimes you even fly all by yourself. On my airline, we fly quite a bit by ourselves. So you have to be very self-reliant, and you know how to have to use common sense. Oh, they teach you everything by the book, but you and we stay by the book, but the point of it is that you need to use your brain, or else they cannot write everything that happens. In my almost 10 years experience, you know, there's been several experiences that I'll share at later dates or whatever that's not written somewhere in a manual. You need to know how to be calm, cool, collected in the face of issues and problems, and just be a really creative problem solver, which I would say is a strong suit of mine, and probably something that's developed a lot over this career because I've had to get myself to and from work. I'm a commuter, so if you want to know more about that, follow again my vlog playlist. But I just want to get to the meat of it. So once you've applied, you'll probably have a phone interview, and just like I'm doing today, you're going to want to make sure that you're in a quiet space. You're going to want to make sure I wore today what I would wear if I was going to an interview, and that's just a simple, like this is almost exactly what my flight attendant thing or shirt looks like, in that it's just so basic. You don't really see much. I wore similar jewelry, I wore similar makeup. Like, this is how I would do it if I were gonna sit down and do an interview right now with somebody. I would have a clean background. I mean, I don't know how clean it is. You don't want to have distractions. You want to talk loud, clear. You want to be crisp and direct, and a big thing is what I always have to remind myself is to try and look directly when you're talking to them into where your actual camera is coming from. Make eye contact with them, because otherwise you're just looking at yourself, which can look a little strange for the interviewer. So that's just something you might want to keep in mind for your video interview. They're going to video interview you and how you want to come across is, I feel, flexible, open. Even if you have a lot of questions about the job, I don't think this is the place to ask it. I say that because I'll get into my story just briefly, because I kind of have a crazy hiring story. But what happened is I went to my interview. Well, let me fast forward just a little bit so that I'll get to that story in just a second of what happened to me and how I almost didn't get hired because I made kind of a fatal flaw mistake. So you're gonna have that phone interview, and this may or may not happen. Like for April, she's just going straight to the open house interview. You're gonna go to this open house interview, and there's gonna be lots of people there, and you're gonna most likely be ushered into a room, and they're going to give you some. This is just the scenario I had. I don't know if it's like this for everybody. If you had a different experience, please comment below so that people can learn from your experience. But for me, it was kind of like okay, we're gonna go through everybody. We're gonna call you by name, and please stand up and in 1 minute describe who you are, where you live, and I'm just giving examples. I don't remember what it was specifically, but it was like 3 specific things, and they repeated them. They're like, in under a minute, stand up and give who you are, where you work, and like your age, or some very specific things. And what I noticed was, what was really interesting is that you had a lot of people stand up and say how they've always dreamed about being a flight attendant and tell their story and go into all these like sidelines about how when I was a little girl I used to dream about being a flight attendant and da 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 da. I think that is the #1 point I can make, is listen to what they're asking for, because it doesn't really, I mean, show your personality, be personable, be open, speak loudly, but give them what they're asking for. They've asked you, that's the hidden language in that. But that's it. That's really the test, is listen carefully to what they're asking you to tell them, and then tell them that, and make sure you're under a minute. don't rush it, but whether you set a little timer on your phone, I mean, I don't even know how that would work because you'd be like fumbling with your phone and I wouldn't recommend that. But maybe just at home, kind of pace yourself. So try and think of like, how would I introduce myself in under a minute? So then you'll go through that interview and then they'll make a cut. They'll have everybody come out and then they'll kind of, I don't remember if they posted it like back in high school where they put it up on a board, or I think they just called names of who was coming to then the interview process. So then we got ushered back into the room and I made it through the first cut and I made it to the group interview, or the individual interview. So I waited and I had my interview with the girl and I thought it went great. I felt like I was prepared for the answers, and that's what you're going to find at theflightattendantcareer.com. More of those answers, and I would recommend practicing those aloud and just having some kind of, you know, it's like any interview really, like give us an example of a time that you thought quickly on your feet, and then think quickly on your feet and give them what they're asking for. So she's asking me about where do I see myself with this career and on and on. The problem that maybe, that's where it became a problem, is that I didn't sound flexible enough. I maybe said, you know, I'm working this job. She got this impression that I was working another job in addition to this job, and that I was maybe like, you know, they ask you, do you have any other questions? And maybe I asked questions of like, well, so how does it work with the schedule exactly? They want to hear that you are as free as a bird. When they say like, can you move? Can you do this? Like, even if you have children like me, or even if you this, that, and the other, that's not the place to find out about the specifics of the job. That's what I'm saying, is like, comment below, find out through other YouTubers, find out, do your research beforehand. That is not the time, because I think it makes you look unflexible. I'm going to just quickly finish up with why I think that, because, so what happened to me is, after this process is over, they'll thank you for coming in. A few days later, you'll get an email either saying we've invited you to training or we haven't. I got an email that says we've invited you to training, welcome. And I was so excited. I had not even told my family or anybody, even though I knew this was my career. But what happened next was, a few days later, I received an email that said, you are actually not invited. We are sorry about that. Good luck with your future endeavors. And I was like, nope, sorry, not today. So I found every name in the book. I looked up everybody, went on the website. I just did it all. And I found who I could talk to, the manager. I was lucky enough that she was open to talk to me. But I had written a nice email explaining, like, this is what happened. I'm a little bit confused. I'd love to talk to you more about it. I'm really passionate about becoming a flight attendant. And so I got my FaceTime with her and we talked, and I just explained, like, this is my life. This is my career. This is everything to me. She completely agreed. She's like, how could we not want somebody so passionate and excited about this career? We'd love to have you for training, but let's go back through your file and see what why this mistake happened. And she went through my notes from the interview, and she said, yeah, she just made some notes here that you weren't flexible. That you weren't as flexible we needed. Is there a reason for that? And I had to rack my brain, and she's like, yeah, she made some notes about maybe another job, or you were just like, just didn't seem as open. And so if it wasn't for that, I would have saved the day. But I wish I would have, like, going back, that's what I can give you today, is when they're asking you if you have other things, you've got nothing. You are a flight attendant first and foremost, and that's that. So thank you for watching. I hope you'll watch these vlog playlists and learn more about becoming a flight attendant. Ask me any question. I love to interact with you guys. Like I said, just you sharing your journey with me is why I'm here. So thank you for watching once again. We'll see you next time. Please subscribe if you like cute kids and fun family stuff. So see you next time.